Greetings everybody, Sive here with the Forex Peace Army.com. Let's have a look on the gold market. So in general, scenario that we have considered on Friday, market has completed. So consider pullback that we suggested right to the 4650 area. And currently, the major concern that we have here is with this retracement that we have on minor chart, because it will have for special meaning for high time frame. This market is showing the downside reaction, but at the same time, since we have a kind of the triangle consolidation, as you can see on the weekly chart, it could actually keep the open for both directions. For example, if something will start changing, we easily could imagine here the big butterfly that might start developing to the upside. That's why it's important every time when you see some pullback against the major tendency that we are following, to analyze what actually is happening here and whether it brings some menace to overall tendency. So what particular trading steps that we could get and extract from this performance. So taking a look by the lower time frame, you could see that market has retested this area. At the same time, market has stand outside of it, which means that the bears still control the situation and keep everything in the right direction, at least for the bears. So it means that in the current circumstances, bears have to, if you haven't taken position here, you need to keep an eye on the pattern that now is forming on the hourly chart, and as well for the bulls. For the bulls, in fact, the conservative approach will be to wait where the market will return back inside of the triangle. If this will happen, it simultaneously opened the new range for market movement up to the 4760 area. So here market will be able to move back, and it even could lead later to appearing of the big pattern, such as a head and shoulders here. So it might be the shoulder head, later it might be another shoulder before upper continuation. So it means that if market returns back in this range, it really might become the big change in short-term tendency. So that's why this area is so important. So if you have a bullish view, you would like to take the long position, it's better to wait when this will happen. And after that, you could consider possible patterns that might be formed there. Another option is a bit risky, but it depends on your sensitivity to the risk. I am speaking about possible reverse head and shoulders pattern here. This pattern, by the way, is also important for the bears. So here you can see that market stands approximately on the point where theoretically it should reestablish upper direction, because if we call this as a head and shoulders, it's probably somewhere that should be symmetrical, and somewhere around this area we should get the bottom of the right arm. Another thing is that market's coming in touch with the MACD indicator, which could bring us the bullish grabbers. So such a combination, especially after the good thrusting action, it could bring some options to consider bullish positions here with a possible some extension to the upside. But this is a bit aggressive. I suppose this is aggressive approach just because we have overall bearish tendency, and that's actually decrease the chances that this construction could work. So for the bears, this pattern is also important, because if you will see the market keep going lower, breaking the symmetry of the pattern, erasing the rally, returning back somewhere to 45.90, 45.85, that will be signal for a possible taking short, just because erasing of this pattern suggests that market will keep going lower, at least down to the 45, and probably that might become the continuation of the major tendency that we have here. It means that this retracement is over, we're going to the 44. So if upper direction will happen still, then we will consider separately what we could do there, whether it will make sense to take the short positions again. But for now, for the beginning of the next week, the failure of this construction, it also might be important for a trading decision, as for the bulls, as for the bears. So that in short term, what we have on the technical side. Second question is about our weekly report that we have prepared. So we have found a few interesting charts that could confirm and actually explain why we think particular that gold market will remain under pressure in the short term, and why we are positive on long term. So the new statistics, the new data that we've got, and some charts, it's actually very good illustrate this suggestion and what actually we're going to. So if you're interested with that, with fundamental background in gold market, I think that you will find it interesting to read. So that's probably all for now. See you next time.